So for our final panel, I'd like to introduce Seung Kim. She's a Senior Vice President and leads the national programs at LISC, and Brenda Palms Barber. She's President and CEO of North Lawndale Employment Network, and they have a social enterprise called Sweet Beginnings, which we're going to hear a lot about. They're going to join us virtually from Chicago. So Seung and Brenda.
Wonderful. Good afternoon. Thanks, Javier. I also want to thank both David, Javier at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York City, as well as Maria, Carla, and the team at REDF for convening this very important discussion today around employment opportunities through social enterprises. And we are actually on location at the home of Sweet Beginnings in Chicago, and we're really thrilled that we can join the conversation today virtually. As Javier mentioned, my name is Seung Kim. I'm a Senior Vice President for National Programs at LISC. This is Brenda Palms Barber, a longtime friend and partner in the work, President and CEO of North Lawndale Employment Network. And we're going to hear actually about two of the social enterprises that very successful social enterprises that she's operating today. I also want to talk a little bit about LISC. We're a community development financial institution and an intermediary nonprofit that operates through our local offices and our rural partners all across the nation. And we provide loan capital as well as grant support and technical assistance program strategy to partners on the ground who have a shared mission and interest that we do to see our communities thrive. What we do is we learn from our partners like Brenda. We have an ear to the ground, and we learn also where we can fill in the gaps and where we can do better as well, so that we can try to drive real transformation in our communities. And so in a minute, you're going to hear more from Brenda. We've been asked to provide a field perspective on the role of capital and social enterprises and how they boost employment opportunities and wealth in our communities. But before we do, I'm actually going to turn it over back to Javier to play a brief video that we provided for everyone.
Lomborg is set again. Here is a pop fly into shallow center field. They're coming on. It's going to drop.
I love baseball. That was my year round. I played baseball season, meeting people, going places, away from all the other stuff that was going on in the neighborhood.
The pitch. Here is a drive, but it's going to curve and go foul down the left field.
Darren, he did pretty well in high school. He won all types of awards, and he was picked by the Atlanta Braves to pitch for them. Of course, a situation happened that took 30 years out of his life.
Being in the wrong place at the wrong time and not thinking, everything that you had built, everything that you wanted was gone. When I left, it was the 80s. So I missed the 90s, 2000, 2010, when it was time to get released. Now, how do I get from the 80s to 2019 or 2020? What did for me is the U-turn permitted program. I just told them, I don't know how to use a phone, I don't know how to do a computer. They were like, no problem, we can help you. They put me in the right mind space, the head space, and they gave me opportunity to go at my own pace and do things that I need to do, and it helped me.
When he first got home, he was isolated. He had an air about him where you really didn't want to talk to him. But then when he graduated, the change was dramatic.
Oh, that was a good experience because after I graduated from U-turn permitted, I had an opportunity. It was a transitional job, 90-day job.
Sweet Beginnings is a social enterprise. It is part of North Lawndale Employment Network, and it serves as a way for any of our clients who come through U-turn permitted to actually get really, really good marketable skills.
That was a good day. Knowing that I was going to work, I was like, man, I'm finna go to work. I was so ready to work, I was there early.
He'll make the product. He'll make sure the label's correct. I know Darren got it. He has a wonderful mindset. He want to do things. He want to build things. He continue to grow.
I was optimistic about hiring Darren, and Darren could articulate the skill set. Like, He talked about the customer service he learned at Sweet Beginnings that he could bring to 40 Acres.
By him right now working 2 jobs, right, he is definitely productive.
I just enjoy what I do. I try to, do the best that I can every day.
But he's also a giver. Darren has made a donation to North Lawndale Employment Network, so he is officially a donor of ours.
I want to give back to them the way they gave to me. What North Lawndale do is give you a chance and an opportunity to prove that what people see and say is not true. I'm proud of myself, and I feel that I got a lot more to give. For me, it's good to receive this award of recognition. I want people to understand that I'm out here trying to do good. I want to be part of the solution.
Glad y'all were able to join us and listen a little bit about Darren's story. But there's more. There's more to his story. If we can get the slide up, that would be great. It's important for you all to know not only is Darren a donor, someone that is a graduate of our U-Turn Permitted Job Readiness Program, an employee of Sweet Beginnings, currently still working at his job with just lost the name.
40 acres.
40 acres, thank you. But he recently purchased a home right before Christmas. And he is an example of how our Financial Opportunity Center, in partnership with LISC, how a social enterprise have come together to create an incredible pathway forward for an individual who has served 30 plus years behind bars in prison. And so today he's a homeowner. He had Christmas with his family. His children came to visit. And he's just one of so many that are benefiting from the social enterprise and re-entry workforce development model that we have at NLEN.
Wonderful, Brenda. This is really amazing. Really appreciate this opportunity to come and to see your new space. I think when I first met Brenda back in 2006, she was doing amazing work out of a little house on Flournoy Avenue in Chicago. And I was just blown away when I drove up to this amazing new facility, which not only houses all of their employment training programs, but also their beloved social enterprises, a cafe. I just got a cup of coffee from their cafe, as well as a bank partner as well. And it's just really phenomenal that you were able to provide this really as a pillar in the community. And I wondered, Brenda, if you could talk a little bit about how did you finance all of this? It is very impressive.
Thank you so much. Lots of duct tape, I'll say, but actually we had a lot of amazing will from community and from our banking partners and really from private philanthropy. When I look at our capital stack, Seung, it looks as if, about 22% of our support came from the city of Chicago. We were fortunate to go through the process for new market tax credits, which represents about 14% of our total. And then private philanthropy came in at about $7 million. And then, of course, we had lots of wonderful individuals that contributed to our campaign for a total of just a little over $11.5 million.
Amazing. That's really amazing that you were able to piece it together. How long did it take you to pull together?
About 2.5 years at most. And I understand that's faster than normal.
Yes, that really is. But I know that time is of the essence. North Lawndale Employment Network has always done such amazing work in the community and has been a financial opportunity center since 2005, one of our very first in the country. LISC now operates over 130 of these financial opportunity centers. Actually, rather, we support a network that's operated by amazing and resourceful community-based organizations like yours, from whom we learn. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about how the social enterprises connect with your financial opportunity centers.
Well, I think one of the most important lessons that we've learned is that when people need a job, it means that they also need to better understand how to manage even that entry-level wage that they're going to start off with.
Sure.
So how do we help you become competitive for securing work, but then also how do we help you manage the money that you are making? And then what are some of the challenges that you may be facing? It could be that there are bankruptcies in the past. It could be that you have never traditionally used banking, or you don't think you have the ability to even have a savings account. So for us, we've had to integrate our financial education services and financial coaching with employment, and that they really go very much hand in hand. So in the case of Darren, it was really clear that when he went through and worked with Sweet Beginnings, that he was immediately assigned a financial education coach, someone to sit with him and say, where are your dreams? What are your financial hopes? And it's amazing that he's actually found a way not only to save money for his home, but he, as mentioned, is a donor. He actually supports us, and that can't happen. And people wouldn't think that's possible, right? On a regular entry-level wage, but he's beyond a little entry level, but he's able to manage his funds, have a bank account, and actually purchase a home. And so that's why it's important for us to have those services integrated.
That's amazing. And actually, I didn't kind of prep for this, but I'm curious to know, Brenda, roughly how many people are you training every year and providing jobs to through your social enterprises?
So the big number for us now is that we've had roughly about 550, probably 558, 60 people that we have hired since the inception of our social enterprise. Roughly, we're still at about 20 to 40 people a year.
Okay.
Of course, with COVID, we had to shut down for a little bit. We've been impacted by that. So that does affect our numbers, but we're really excited because this new campus and we have a brand new facility for Sweet Beginnings, and so we actually have more time and more ability to scale.
Amazing. That's really amazing. Over 500 people who then have had the opportunity to build wealth, to buy homes in their communities,
Yes.
to give back to their communities.
That's right.
That is so meaningful. And I'm wondering, are you able to share, is your social enterprise, is it self-sustaining? How do you piece together grant support, loan support to make it work on a day-to-day basis?
So because Sweet Beginnings was established long before there was even this thing called social enterprises,
Sure.
right? We didn't have sort of the benefit of some of the new models that exist today. But the model that we have is that Sweet Beginnings is a wholly owned subsidiary of the North Lawndale Employment Network. And so that means that we're also treated, Sweet Beginnings is treated as a disregarded tax entity, because as long as Sweet Beginnings is advancing the mission and the purpose of the nonprofit, which is, jobs and training, then we are seen as that disregarded tax entity. So that means that NLEN can secure grants that we then pass through to support Sweet Beginnings. So we're able to receive grant funding, but we're also able to generate revenue through the sale of our products.
Wonderful, wonderful, truly amazing. And I wonder if you could provide any advice for those seeking to improve employment prospects for folks, who are maybe reentering citizens or facing some barriers to entry. I think that was, what this really important conversation today was about. I don't know anyone else who's been doing it longer than you, Brenda. I don't know anyone else who's been such a pioneer, particularly in the social enterprise space. So I wonder if you could share some words of wisdom and advice for myself and for the audience here.
Thank you. Certainly there are some amazing people that the panel that was just prior was amazing. Those were some really, really impactful servant leaders. So they had a lot of wisdom to share on stage. I think that for those, especially coming out of incarceration and re-entering society, that so much of what we find that we need to do is to help restore a person's self-worth. Everything that, incarceration represents it's about, stripping a person of their identity and you become a number, rather than helping people rediscover their self-worth and who they are, and helping them understand that sometimes the skills that they used for criminal activity are skills that can be transformed and transitioned into wonderful assets in legal work. And I think that that's one of the most important things that we've learned, is to look at a person for all of the possibilities. And if we can wrap our arms around them and infuse them with the skills and talent and tools that they need, then they can become productive citizens in society. But it's really about meeting them where they are, honoring who they are, and know that they're incredibly vulnerable, but that we can surround them and help them rediscover their strengths and their assets. And they'll be one of the best employees you can ever have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is amazing. And you actually brought up a point that I just want to underscore again, and that's this concept of transferable skills. Folks are coming in and they're, working with the bees and making amazing honey products, but at the same time, they're learning how to work in food distribution.
Absolutely.
They might be working at the cafe and they're learning customer service skills, which then could be transferred even into the healthcare medical assisting field. There's so many opportunities for transferable skills.
And
And
certifications are important. I think that's what one of the
That's
things
where
to
I'm
bring
just
up.
heading into.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Go
I'd
ahead.
love to know actually if you could talk a little bit about where some of your trainees and social enterprise employees, where they've ended up, because North Lawndale is also an amazing Bridges partner. You focus on career pathways and really solid opportunities in in-demand job sectors. And
That's
so I
right.
wonder if you could
Well,
speak to that.
Many of our folks, we love to be able to transition them into the transportation, distribution, and logistics sector. It's a really wonderful sector for folks who it's just a little bit more flexible depending on your background. But also we make sure that folks leave with a food handling and food sanitation license. That's built into our curriculum now, so that you're going to leave with at least a credential that can make you more marketable in the labor market. But we also are trying to really be human and individual centered and help people develop pathways for where their passion lies. Because when you do work that you like, that you care about, the likelihood of you retaining that job and not turning over is markedly improved.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I wondered, Brenda, if you had any additional thoughts for the audience today, some closing thoughts, other words of wisdom that you want to share.
Oh my goodness, where do we start? Well, I think, first of all, I love that this conversation is happening, and that the power of social enterprises, businesses that have a clear social purpose for addressing those who are most vulnerable, who have more significant barriers to employment in particular, that they're available, they serve a purpose. And I think one of the struggles is that we don't fit neatly into this box of profitability. I think that that's something that everyone wonders, well, how profitable are you? And the conversation around scaling, I thought was really interesting prior. I think it's important that they're profitable, but I also think we have to remember that it's a triple bottom line business. And sometimes we have seasonality of profitability, and sometimes we're not as profitable. But at the end of the day, have we had impact on improving the quality of life for men and women who need opportunities, who are second chance folks, to improve the quality of their lives through work? And so that ultimately becomes a key metric for us. But rest assured, my board is making sure that that bottom line is healthy, as healthy as possible.
I'm sure that is the case. We're coming about to the end of the conversation here. And I just want to, again, thank you for the time and all the insights that you shared. And it's in part through the partnership with North Lawndale and some of our other community-based organizations around the nation that LISC really has been able to, and our financial opportunity centers have had, I think, what you've mentioned earlier, which is just a right frame of mind as we approach business and services and capital deployment and investment in our communities. We very much believe that all individuals are creative, resourceful, and whole. And we also want to acknowledge that there really are racist policies and practices that have limited economic opportunity, in particular in our Black and Brown communities. And, that really has led to a severe racial wealth gap and also a racial health gap as well. And it's so important that organizations like yours really are doing something about it. I think it was earlier in the conversation, I believe it was with Chet, who had talked about just the amazing talent that exists
Absolutely.
in our communities. I think you're proving that through your, very profitable and amazing social enterprises that you're, leading up. And we're proving that every day in the work that we do, skilling up and training talent to get them to, really be able to meet the needs of employers today.
That's right.
So, I just want to,
I know we're getting down.
yeah,
I just want to say that this is really about community and economic development, and that social enterprises really do serve such a key role. We have created a space in a neighborhood where where the average income is $24,000 a year, where people have a coffee shop and they can come and have an amazing experience. We're hiring local Black and brown entrepreneurs to provide food and to create art in our communities. We're hiring janitors and landscapers. I mean, really becoming a local economic engine. And I think that's and our social enterprises are a really important part of that. They serve at the core of it, but it's ultimately just a rich opportunity to be an economic driver in neighborhoods that oftentimes get overlooked and are under-resourced.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you so
Thank you
much,
so much,
Brenda,
Sarah.
for sharing your wisdom with all of us today. And thanks again to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York for hosting this conversation. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to our hosts.
Thank you.